you got to be a certain type of person to play it, and you got to be an even different type of person to play it well.
Totally.
Yeah, I was so naive going through that process, and thank God I was, because it turned out really well for me. But it is a very scary show. Like, it is, like, looking back on it, and like looking at my season since I've left it and things like that, I'm like, this is a terrifying beast that I decided to just literally throw myself into the lion's den. And that's what I always tell people that are like, I want to be on Big Brother. I'm like, okay, make sure you have a really good therapist.
See, I totally want to be on Big Brother.
Oh, make
I
sure you have
just
a really good
think,
therapist.
but it seems like such a fun, it's so, I get it. It's not, listen, I watch it, so I get it. It's
Yeah,
not
you
all fun
have
and
to get it.
games.
No, it
It's not all
certainly
fun and
isn't.
games.
But it was for me for about a month, and then I always say, like, I had the best month of my life, like the most mediocre month of my life, and then the worst month of my life.
Really.
I was so ready to get out of that house when it was my time. Oh my God, I ran out with and threw glitter into the air because I was so excited, because I had just, if you had watched, like, I just basically been outmaneuvered, and once you're
Yeah.
outmaneuvered, you're just like, well, there's nothing I can do. Like, I can't change Caleb's mind because he's not listening. So there's literally nothing I could do. And then the game's over. Then your game is over, but then you still have to stay in the house like for like an extra 14 days, and you're like, ugh, what do I do for the next 14 days?
Right. And you know you're not going to win. Like because like okay, so that was your goal and like because you were on YouTube and you self like produce yourself like were you aware like how can I say it? Like you went in wanting to be on reality TV like an
Yes.
understanding and there's no shade in this question. I'm just curious. It's more like the psychology like you might be in like an I think there's other people like you but you understood like what reality TV could do
Yes.
for your career, which is not bad. I mean, I'm the same way. That's kind of why I would like to go on a reality show. But like, did you lose sight of that? Or was that always, did you always have that? Or were you like, holy shit, there's also $500,000 and I also want to win Big Brother. And at some point you lost why you actually went there and you're like, oh yeah, there's cameras. Or you were always
No.
like,
I,
I know what
I
this is
always knew
all
what I
about.
was doing. Yeah, that and
Okay.
that's the thing that kept me sane, to be honest. Like, remembering that I was on a TV show at all times, because when you're in that space, when you're in that world, you completely lose sight of the fact that the world is bigger beyond the 16 people that you've been speaking to for the past 3 months. So everything is life or death. Every single thing is life or death. So, like, the thing that kept me as sane as I was, which was not very sane by the end, was remembering, like, no, you're performing. You're on TV right now. Every moment is being dissected and
Yeah.
broadcast all over the entire world, which is also very stressful. So I was producing myself the entire time I was on the show. So, like, I would always be like, "Oh, I just said that. Oh God, do I have to say something else now to correct what I just said?" And that was before everyone was getting destroyed for everything that they were saying, like, coming out of their mouths. Like,
Totally.
it became like like the seasons after me were like the ones when there was racism, and then there was ones with, like, like, hate against women, and like everything started happening once the season after mine. But I was, constantly editing and making sure that everything that I said was going to be received the way that I wanted it to, at the same time playing the game with the
Right.
person that I'm talking to. It was absolutely exhausting.
It
But
sounds exhausting. And like those two things are not always like those are not always congruous. Like you could have one thing you want to like redeem yourself in America's
yes.
eyes because you want a career after this, but at the same time, I got to say something else to win this game and this person's standing in front of me. So that's got
Yeah.
to be hard. It sounds exhausting, Frankie.
Yeah. But also, like, so everyone knows, and I think if you do know me from reality TV, like, that's who I am. Like, like, the performer, the goofball, the dancer, the one that was annoyingly entertaining everyone 26 hours a day, making everyone smile, laugh, and have a good time. That is who I am as a person. Like, who I genuinely am. So that was fun that I didn't have to work on that part. It was the rest of the part that I had to really work on, which was like the conniving, manipulating, how to get people to do things, how to stay out, how to keep my hands clean when I was soaked in blood, a la Macbeth. Like I was Lady Macbeth for like most of that play, but I was somehow kept my hands pretty clean. Out damn
Yeah.
spot worked for me. But it was like it was very challenging. And then you have to remember, like for me, I wanted to get out of the house so badly because I couldn't wait to receive the benefits of what I knew I did on that show. Like I knew I did what needed to be done in order to catapult my career to the next level, and I knew it was waiting for me. Like we were all terrified, like are we going to get booed when we walk out of the front door, right? Like that's everyone's biggest fear on Big Brother is like, what if we walk out and we get booed, or if there's not a lot of applause? And we would stand there by the door, and as everyone was evicted, decide whether they were liked, hated, or were mediocre. And I just knew in my gut that when I walked out, I was going to get like the biggest applause ever.
Which
And
you
and
did.
and as a performer, I missed that applause.
It was perfect
So
for
I
you.
walked out and I got that applause. And I remember watching the season, and Derek was like, "Oh man, they really like him. I think that was really loud. Was that loud?"
Right. And you're like, it was loud.
I was like, "No, it was, honey."
Do you think like other people, I mean, are aware of it though? Like when they go in, you know what I mean? Because like you look at like a show like The Bachelor, like people are aware of it now. Like they go on for social media followers. But like, I don't know. I'm not so sure. Are other people who play Big Brother like that tuned in like you were to like, I want a career after this and
I
the arts and entertainment? I don't think so. Are they?
no, they're not. They're purposeful. They purposefully don't cast people like me very often.
Right.
They purposely tried to avoid people like that are like, they want like normal average like career
Totally.
people kind of things. Like many people do go on to have, like Nicole was in nursing school when she came on
Right.
to Big Brother, and now her career is influencer, and she is wonderful at it, and she has a bazillion followers. And I look at her posts and I'm always like, how I'm like, you must have a professional photographer that walks around with you 24/7,
Seriously.
because those pictures are gorgeous. But like,
Seriously.
people sometimes do take a step away from their lives, but when they enter the show, they're not necessarily influencers already. Like I
Right.
was already in the business of being an influencer, a YouTuber, and Instagram. Like that's how I kind of build myself. They were like, what's your career? And it would be like influencer. And I would think this was like probably the first time anyone ever said that their career was an influencer on television. It was like my year. I don't know if I said that. Maybe I said like actor influencer. Maybe there was a hyphenate or a slash. I don't even remember. But
Right.
the most people, they don't hire influencers to go on Big Brother. They
No,
hire
they
like
don't.
people, but then often that's what ends up happening. But I think that if your goal is to get a career from a reality TV show like Big Brother, you could be very, very disappointed when you leave,
I think
because
so.
they show all of you, and sometimes the edit, you don't get a favorable edit at all. Like there's been so many people that have come off that show and been like, I got the worst edit and now my career and my life is over. And I'm like, yikes. Yeah, you did.